I'd like to welcome you guys today. We're really excited to learn more about your team and the project that you're working on. But if we could start off, I would love it if everybody could introduce themselves. Who are you? What is your degree? Where are you from? And what part of the team are you, or what role on the team are you holding?
I'm Leo Garcia. I'm an electrical engineering major.
My name is Amanda Mays, and I'm an extreme hobbyist and horticulturist.
My name is Reed Lee, and I am a graphic design major and business minor at Portland State.
Thank you guys so much. We'd love to know, how did you get into the Cleantech Challenge? What pushed you guys to want to take this project on and showcase it in this format?
Well, aside from just an amazing need for our trajectory and our business and what we're doing, we see just a planetary need and a societal need for our line of work. And not only that, but being able to imitate a natural biology is extremely gratifying. And I think it's something that could be applied in many different arenas.
That's excellent. So that is a great question. Why don't you tell us more about your innovation?
Well, basically, and I hope they don't mind if I speak, um, our system essentially works is you have your fish and they live in a tank, and through however plumbing, there's many different systems you could use, but basically that water is pumped to flower beds, and it's filled with nitrates that the fish leave behind. The plants use that water as designer fish food essentially and eat the waste from the fish, byproduct. And the plants are able to grow in an amazing, the time is reduced an amazing amount. And then clean water is then rendered back to the original point. So then the fish receive the clean water. So it's all kind of a nice symbiosis.
That sounds both beautiful and impactful. That's lovely. Where did you guys first get your inspiration for the idea to pursue something like this?
Well, Leo and I had initially just kind of had an interest in this in general, and it started out as a small scale hobby. And we decided that, this could actually be something that we wouldn't mind dedicating our lives to. And then Reed was so kind to join us in that. So,
That's excellent. So you've kind of started to talk a little bit about, how your innovation works and what it does, but really at the core of it, what problem do you feel like this project solves?
oh, I would say deforestation. I would say we're able to reserve so much land because what would ordinarily take an excess of time and resources and a biological footprint that is constantly expanding, we would be able to condense that into potentially just a warehouse and have the same results in almost a quarter of the time. So your bio footprint is greatly reduced and your excess is just plentiful. So why wouldn't you be able to share?
Also, another thing that we wanted to alleviate through Copiosus was giving people access to food. We kind of saw that within urban areas, it's hard to get organic produce that's affordable. So we wanted to be able to have Copiosus be a platform for that.
Oh, that's very, very cool. So as you're working through the Clean Tech Challenge, what are some of the biggest challenges and obstacles you foresee coming up, not only over the next 6 weeks, but as you continue with this project down the road?
Making sure your biofiltration is working with the water and the fish and the plants. Once you've achieved that, it's really limitless what you can accomplish, but it is a delicate process that needs a lot of tending to, which is where the clean tech comes into play, where it's able to measure these imbalances and make it so we're able to stop that immediately before our plants receive any damage or our fish get sick. Disease is also another issue. You want to be very, very careful and thoughtful about how you maintain your fish. You have to be very ethical going forward because if you slack on your ethics, then your fish will suffer and your project will suffer.
That's very noble, absolutely beautiful. What do each one of you hope to get out of your experience of going through the Clean Tech Challenge?
Well, with my role as kind of the marketing person and in charge of brand identity and all of the marketing assets, I really hope to just build my skills through this challenge. I kind of hit a stroke of luck with having Leo be in my class and then, be a part of the classroom project and then be like, I need somebody to work on the graphic design end of it. And I was like, hey, let's do it. And so far, I've done a lot of professional work for Copiosus that I'm really proud of and I'm really excited to share with people.
I would like to use machine learning and computer vision for something good, something beneficial for people.
I would like to see this method of agriculture and farming utilized on a greater scale. I'd like to see it used in more cities. I'd like to see it used for water treatment with humans. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see its limitless potential fully expand.
Thank you guys so much for sharing that. You guys are just now starting to get into the thick of your work within the challenge. I know you've done some work beforehand, but as we're kind of getting ready to thinking about how this will be pitched and how you want to prepare that, what is the most important thing you want the judges to understand about Copiosus, and what sets you guys apart within the competition?
It's the opportunity to not only deliver fresh produce to people, but the option to produce fresh proteins and fish that are organic. We don't have microplastics. We don't have to deal with the same sort of limitations that, producing these things, via the ground or via the water naturally would take an enormous amount of time and would disrupt those native populations potentially. So I think that sets us apart is the fact we're able to offer both. And not only that, but the fact that our nutrients are provided by the fish, which would reduce this whole operations cost by 30%. The method of us retrieving our nutrients also puts money back in our pockets through potentially selling said fish that are a part of the system. There's no need to look any further.
What I really want the judges to understand is that Copiosis is a company that is people oriented and is servicing communities that truly need sustenance that is organic and sustainable.
That's so inspiring. And as we approach Cleantech Challenge, we often love the fact that teams come from people with such diverse backgrounds, whether it's academically, in general, their pursuits. And so we do wanting to learn a little bit more about you guys. And one thing that's come up this year in the challenges, I'm curious, is anybody within your team a first generation college student? And if they are, has that shaped their desire to do something like Cleantech, to access resources like this or access programming like this?
I would say definitely. As a first generation student, I've had a lot of opportunities so far in my education to be really surprised by how many resources there are for me specifically. Neither of my parents went to university, and my grandparents didn't even have an academic background. And hearing about the Clean Tech Challenge really, really inspired me to explore entrepreneurship and innovation. I just wanted to coast through college and not explore anything else. So this has opened up a new horizon for me.
I think being a Black woman and going forward in something like clean tech is, I mean, nobody in my family's done it. There's not a lot of representation. So the fact that I'm able to go forward with this and have these resources is really amazing. So I'd like to take advantage of that if possible.
That's really beautiful. Thank you guys so much. So, we do call it the Clean Tech Challenge for a reason. But do you feel that the next generation of innovators has a responsibility to help protect the planet? And, how do you define what that responsibility is?
I think we're inundated with an excess. I think the idea of success is really filled around material gains and also just gains on paper. But really, I think what the goal should be is actually sustaining a baseline quality of life for everybody. And I think that's just what we're trying to provide.
We really do think that it is integral for people who have the resources to start companies and to be entrepreneurs, to be socially responsible, especially when our planet is struggling so much that it is extremely important to keep in mind the kind of things that you're doing ethically and with your business practices.
Climate change is creating a lot of problems that will require innovative solutions, and technology is a way to solve that.
That's excellent. What, if anything, would you like to see from the other student innovators in regards to being environmentally conscious? What are you hoping some of the other projects consider when they're moving forward through this?
Well, it depends on the project, but I would say consider what communities you are serving and what communities you are impacting. What was really hard with Copiosus was that since we are making produce for profit, how can we make it like as accessible as possible for the populations that we are serving? So for certain technologies, where are you sourcing this? Where does it come from? And things like that are really important to an innovation that is for people.
That's fantastic. And so we have a little bit of time left. Is there anything else that you would like people to note about Copiosis or about your programming that we didn't talk about in some of the other questions?
So we're using sensors for the plants to gather the data on what they feel is healthy, and we will monitor the plants to see how well they're doing. And we will put that in our machine learning program to see if we need to make adjustments in later harvests, and that should increase productivity.
That's fantastic. It just sounds like you have a very well-rounded project. I look forward to seeing how far you guys take this over the next 6 weeks, and cannot wait to see what you bring to the showcase at the finals. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.